Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I am Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Abandoned. This will be interesting. All right, let's introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm good. I just thought
Yes.
I'd throw you and not say anything weird. And everybody thought, boy, he's being really weird because he didn't say anything weird this time.
Oh, don't twist my mind like that. That's
Yeah.
I can't do that. All right. Also joined this week is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl. How you doing?
Good. Jeff just beat my mind because I'm like,
Bark.
I expected something, but no.
No?
But Christopher will deliver, right, Christopher?
Yes, he will. Speaking of
No
that,
pressure. No
well,
pressure.
let's introduce award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
I'm just your next door neighbor, come to bring you some beer.
Hey, Bayer.
So I drop by and review this movie with you guys, if that's okay. And I'll go back to my shack out back.
Check out.
Don't forget the dead pigs.
Yeah, let's go. Yes. Don't forget that.
What was the point of all that? But anyway, we'll get to that. All right. So what we're going to do with this? Oh God, he did bring it. What we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions. That will be spoiler free, and then we'll dive into a discussion about the film. We will get into spoilers. This one has them for what they are. Some of them are like
If
right
you know
there
what's
near-
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other ones are like, that's obvious. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you enjoy it, we hope you hit the like button, the subscribe button, share with a friend, all that good stuff. And then, of course, leave us comments down below. Let's take a look at the card, shall we? Woof, woof, she says.
Wolf.
All right. Abandoned from Vertical Entertainment, available in theaters June 17th, 2022. Available digital and on demand, June 24th, 2022. Directed by Spencer Squire, written by Eric Patterson and Jessica Scott. The cast includes Emma Roberts, John Gallagher Jr., Paul Schneider, and Michael Shannon. The synopsis: Abandoned, the film follows a sharply intense. Oh my God, okay. Abandoned follows the sharply intense lives of Sara and her husband Alex and their infant son as they move into a remote farmhouse which harbors a dark, tragic history. As their home's past is revealed, the mother's fragility escalates to a state of psychosis that jeopardizes her own safety and that of her newborn son. Woof.
Okay,
That's
that basically gives everything away then.
It kind of does.
It basically tells me what we talked about before.
Yes.
Great job.
Woof. All right, so let's get into this. Jeff, sir, you are up first. What was your first impression of Abandoned?
Well, I'm totally lost here because I'm trying to figure out. You listed Paul Schneider, and I don't see Paul Schneider in the credits anywhere.
Oh, well, that's interesting because I got it from the PR firm, so
Yeah.
go figure.
Well, IMDb is very limited for this.
Well,
film.
I agree, but there's not that many characters, so I'm like, I don't.
I think it was the psychiatrist, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
They only have the director listed on IMDb, so.
Wow.
Right, you're right. All right, first impressions. Back on track. I like this film. Jiminy Christmas! I really like this. Emma Roberts. You know,
I love her. Mm-hmm.
there's and there's stuff in the past where I haven't been that excited about her performance, but I think this shows a real advancement, at least from my point of view. And you can't shake a stick at Michael Shannon or John Gallagher Jr.
Yeah.
either. Those guys, they're all, and these are the three main characters that you see constantly. And it's a disturbing film about somebody who's very disturbed, Emma Roberts. And what can I say? I was and I was disturbed by the ending until I decided to apply my own version of it. You know, I'm just going to decide this is what happened, even though that's not necessarily what they showed us. I don't think that's given too much away. So yeah, you got this couple that have moved to a house and they have a baby, and he's a veterinarian, and they have a weird neighbor played by Michael Shannon, who, you know, let's be honest, if Michael Shannon was your neighbor, you'd think he was weird, probably. I'm sure he's a really nice guy, but God, he plays weird really well. So I'm kind of rambling here, but I enjoyed it, but the ending threw me.
The ending threw you.
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
So I thought it was very well done.
Excellent. I'm just excited. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, you're up next. What was your first impression of Abandoned?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of this definitely has some money behind it.
Yeah.
You have really well-known songs incorporated into it. You have well-known actors that are part of it. It's shot very well. But I'm not sure what they're trying to say with this film, other than maybe it's a good ad for condoms. Because this film will not make you to have children, because that baby is so screamy.
Right.
I was like, man, I'm going to go out and get a vasectomy tomorrow after seeing this. At the same time, I'm not sure what it says about postpartum depression as well. I feel like it puts it in a, I don't know. It just, I don't, but at the same time, I'm not sure what happened either. I don't know. The whole film, I'm like, this mom is the worst mom ever. It's like every time she would leave the baby, and I'm like, why are you leaving the baby on the bed? Why are you leaving the baby here? Why are you doing this? You know?
It made me nervous when they leave the baby.
I kept getting stressed out. You know, it reminded me when my niece came to visit and she was running. Nobody would care where she's running around. I was like, she can get into trouble, you know. But it's like in a baby. I don't know. There's just certain situations that made me very annoyed, and so, I'm sorry, Jeff. Everybody was creepy. All the other people who weren't the main people were creepy. The psychologist is creepy.
Oh yeah.
That other farmer he's going to visit is creepy. Just kill him. I don't care how you do it. Just kill him.
I do care how you do it.
Or I do care. Yeah. I do care. Well, yeah. Which is even worse. Because I mean, just the part where he just shows up and he just standing there is like he spits out the side of his mouth. Like, what the hell's going on here? So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about this film. To be honest, the film kind of annoyed me because I'm not sure if it really had. To me, I felt like it was. I don't know. I felt like it was putting postpartum depression in a bad light, making you're gonna be psychotic. And then it went directions I wasn't sure it was going. I would mention films, but I don't want people to sort of have an idea of what's happening. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it kind of is like, man, Michael Shannon needs better parts.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
He's competent in it, but I don't know. I don't feel like, I don't know. I feel like there was kind of a build up to something that wasn't there, to where it's like, it just became more about her character and the things she sees. So I'm not sure if there was anything was really resolved.
It's
okay.
questionable.
Well, no,
you know what I mean?
Nope,
Without giving anything away,
nope,
I don't feel like anything was resolved. In
Nope.
fact, and then it just kind of, the ending kind of like, okay, this could happen again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure what I watched.
Crystal's got something to say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I watched, but the film did annoy me. I kept getting stressed out. I kept getting mad. Either I got annoyed by her actions, or I got annoyed by the baby, or I'm not. I mean, there was one moment that actually, there was one jump scare that made me jump, but, and then by the end, I'm like, I'm not sure what happened, well,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. A lot to talk
I'll
about.
stop. Yeah.
Crystal, you got a lot to say. It sounds like. What was your first impression of Abandon?
Okay, so I think, like what Christopher's saying, that was the whole point of the movie. That's postpartum depression. Like that was. I agree with a lot of the way this movie is written and the way it's presented, but yeah, it's not ever really going to be resolved. And if she has another baby, it's highly likely she could go through that again. And that's the point of, part of this. You'll see if you watch the movie. But that being said, that part makes sense. The whole postpartum thing makes sense. I don't know that I liked the way that they presented it or they tried to describe it. Like, obviously, they're trying to make it look like she's being gaslighted by the psychiatrist. Like, oh, your feelings aren't real, but your psychosis is. Well, no therapist would say that. And I guess you could say, well, the therapist didn't say that. She's psychotic. So, but that's not exactly what postpartum depression is. So I don't understand what they're trying to do here. And I agree with Christopher that I think they're showing postpartum depression in a really bad light. It's really bad. Like, I think it's almost irresponsibly bad in some ways. So for me, that did kind of bother me. I think that the movie was shot okay. I love Emma Roberts, like in Scream Queen. She's hilarious. She is so funny. But to me, she couldn't. She and Michael, who are my two favorites out of this movie, easily couldn't save it for me. So that's saying a lot. It felt vapid. If I'm being real, it felt yeah. It felt like they were trying to make it have substance and meaning, but it just doesn't. And it seems like a little bit of misdirection. And like I said, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I've had kids. I've been there. The crying was a little over the top too, a little bit much. I mean, it made my uterus tighten every time I would hear that baby cry. I'm like, okay. And that's not a joke. That totally does happen when you have kids. It's this thing. I mean, it makes sense, but it's like, okay, come on, really? But yeah, I didn't want it to be what I think that they set out to make. I think they set out to make what they made, and like showing the whole past and with the pigs. I think they were just trying to correlate what was happening with the pigs with what had happened in the past in this house. That's the whole reason for the pig stuff. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Really just did nothing. I mean, okay, but it just didn't matter. None of it mattered. But anyway, so as far as it goes for me, I think people will. It's not scary, by the way, but I think people will be interested in this movie. I think some people will find it enjoyable. It's a lighter brand of horror, so maybe as an introduction just don't show it to a new mom.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by like years, not like yeah. This movie has a lot of pedigree, so that was the interest in it, right? It has a great cast: Emma Roberts, Michael Shannon, John Gallagher Jr. I think we've enjoyed them in various films. They don't necessarily have chemistry here in this film, though. That's disappointing. They're each okay independently, but I don't ever buy John Gallagher and Emma Roberts as a couple in this. They just never really make it work. Even a couple that's strained, right? It just feels like they would never be a couple. And his character, because it concentrates on her so much, his character gets lost in his little side story, and it never contextually comes back strong enough to make any sense, and he becomes just a complete asshole. And the whole Michael Shannon thing to me was like, okay, I'm just waiting for the reveal. There are moments that I thought were effectively creepy. It took a while to get there, but there's some hallway scenes that The sound effects alone made it really, really interesting. The part that got me the most upset, though, was, like Christopher said, the baby. They left the baby on, and the baby's reaching for a lit candle, and the baby's at the top of the steps and pushes the gate open. I'm like, I'm in an empty nester now, but I'm still like going, like, oh my God, this is like driving me up the walls. I'm like losing it. And in that respect, it was kind of scary. Is not the right word, though, right? That isn't scary. Like the hallway scene that I mentioned earlier is scary, I think. But then there's a backstory it gets lost in, and a very questionable ending. That I'm kind of not even before the swing scene, but just the whole attic scene or whatever that was. But I'll end my first impression with this, that there was a lot of times I felt this was very similar to, but not in quality, sorry, but very similar to The Changeling from 1980. It's where that was a person, grief moves into a house and it's haunted, and figuring out what's going on. There's a connection and stuff. So it has a tonal similarity there. It's just different circumstances. And that's done really well. And this kind of is uneven and the pieces don't quite fit together. They don't quite work. And then the whole psychiatrist part, when he comes in, kind of throws it off kilter.
Yeah.
It makes it, it introduces the unreliable narrator into the mix at the last minute, and that makes it confusing. That just added confusion. It didn't add mystery, and a little bit of a misstep. And that's a little bit of a spoiler, but not as big as some of the ones we'll talk about here shortly. But that was my first impression. I was, I think, confused, but yet entertained, sort of. I don't know. I wanted more out of it, especially with the acting chops. I mean, this is a great cast. This should have been.
Well, and I think that's the biggest disappointment. It's like getting all the primo ingredients we get at Trader Joe's, but then you you drop it on the floor and drag it through the yard.
Oh,
and
God.
you just make something that's horrible. And not to say that it's horrible. I mean, it's competent, but yeah, I just had, I mean, I think there's things I kind of wished. I mean, like when you're dealing with like postpartum depression, I think it's much more interesting if you think your postpartum depression is causing these images of supernatural stuff or whatever, and it's more about that than it is about like, because I don't know, I think by the ending it's like it tries to do too many things, like, oh no, it's this, no, it's this, and then by then you're like, okay, what was what? Because it almost has that, like you mentioned, The Changeling. It almost has, you remember the movie Homebound? It almost has that kind of element where you think, okay, well maybe this stuff isn't as supernatural. Maybe her mind is playing tricks on her because of the postpartum. But I don't know. I feel like it really puts postpartum depression in a really weird area.
What?
Well, let's just say the best thing for postpartum depression, she was already depressed. Oh, the best thing is to move out into the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that seems like the opposite.
That's part of why I hated the writing on this.
Well, it was also with no context, because we have no idea what her life was before that, right?
Well,
we don't know whether everybody treats her like she has postpartum depression, but maybe she's psychotic. Maybe she has some other delusional stuff going on. And she can't seem to get it across to anybody, and her husband's, I don't know. You're right. The whole side story I didn't get, other than maybe a parallel, but things didn't make sense. Like Michael Shannon as the neighbor tells her, "Don't move that armoire. Don't move that. You don't want to do that." Why? I mean, if it's not supernatural, all it was a cubbyhole crawl space where somebody had been locked up or something. I mean, it wasn't, I guess, I don't know. I didn't get the danger that he seemed to impart.
I found more danger in the swing than I had anything.
Yeah, me too.
Was that the only one that thought something was going to happen?
No, I was like, oh. Oh,
Is that
Right.
they're about to fall.
Creak, creak, creak,
It
creak.
was shot in
Yeah.
a way that like the swing was going to break. So I thought in the very beginning that it was going to break when they had the kid, and then at the end it happens again, and I'm like, why is the emphasis on making this? That was the creepiest thing that wasn't meant to be creepy, I think.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
She's
That's actually hilarious.
hanging by a thread or something. Yeah, the way they shot
I
it,
don't know.
they were trying to attach some importance to that, but
it stressed me out.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
well,
like,
and I didn't, I mean, people do that. People, if you're not mentally well, you're going to leave your kid in unsafe situations. I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, because it would not be fair to call that just postpartum depression, because that was way
Yes.
more than.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, the husband, I think, was not really supportive.
At
No.
all. At all.
Okay. No.
They
Once
moved
again.
they moved
Yeah.
into a
There.
house. They didn't even.
How you doing, big guy? Bye.
Room. Yeah, and he leaves, and it's like, and then
Yeah, and he's
there's
always-
moments where he shows up, and you can see on her face there's something going on, and he doesn't ask, doesn't care. And like, who has one pacifier, by the way? One
know.
freaking pacifier.
I know.
Never,
I'm
I've
totally
never
with
had
you.
kids, and I know you have extra
So
pacifiers.
here's a question for you guys.
Stupidity.
Okay, so they got the whole Michael Shannon subplot. If that subplot wasn't in here, would it change the film?
In what way? I mean, what else would there be? Like still the same. I mean,
If he didn't have to be that character.
they didn't even have to have a character technically. I mean, honestly, he was really kind of. I still liked him, but
Well, I
but
did
he
too,
was-
but it's just like structurally for the story,
Right.
whatever his importance was so superficial and so beneath this actor.
maybe he was just maybe he was just meant to be her rock, though. Do you think that he was real?
Yeah, because the husband saw him with the beer. So yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
he was
that's
definitely
just a
he was
go-say
definitely real.
boasting.
Yeah, he was definitely real. But
Yeah,
it,
but-
he could have been. I don't know. I thought that
Well,
that
psychiatrist
story-
had to interact
of
with
them
him
real.
too.
yeah.
Well, that's true too. I don't know what it's.
At the end, I'm with. I forget who said it, but when it got to the end, I was madder than shit. I'm like, okay, with a stupid ass ending, and I was envisioning apparently we got to that point where, and we're spoiling the hell out of it, where the kid in the attic says, no, you can't have him back, and then she apparently collapses or something and wakes up later, and now everything is fucking wonderful.
Well, I think what they were trying to imply was that she realized that the kid is her. The whole thing was about her connection with the kid, right? She didn't
Yeah.
have a connection. She couldn't find that connection, and that was the importance of the breastfeeding and stuff. And she didn't want that taken away because of they were seeing it as an excuse not to take the medicine. So it was a through point of story.
I wanted to see her husband and Michael Shannon laying bloody on the floor,
There you go. There you go.
and her out there swinging.
Yeah, I thought that she
Well, I
was going
feel
to
like-
take. Yeah.
See
Red
that-
light,
But see, that's the thing. I felt like they were kind of building to that because she started tying the ribbon in her hair, and she was looking at the dress, and I thought it was like, oh, this is going to repeat itself,
Right.
So there's this film was a river of red herrings. It's like, so many things that made you think, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. And by the way,
she
by the
literally
way-
scares herself, right?
well,
in
yeah.
there.
By the way, I understand you're supposed to let people know if somebody died in your house in some states, but do they actually give you pictures of the murder?
Oh, I know. I was thinking the
Who
same thing.
does that?
I was
That
like,
doesn't happen in
they don't have
reality.
to give them the report. Okay, that's ridiculous.
Well,
Okay.
but it's different as a report, but give them pictures of the dead bodies? Nobody does that. That doesn't happen in reality. Only in this movie.
That's good to know for future occurrences.
Oh, yeah, for future.
Well, okay. So here's something interesting. I'm going to throw a sidebar in here. We're watching the Staircase on
Yeah,
HBO,
Staircase
I think.
movie.
And what?
Staircase show.
Good show, yeah. And in that, they say that once these records are, that once those pictures are out there, they do become public domain. You can get them.
Yeah, but she wouldn't give. Still, yeah, no, we're not saying that you can't see the crime scene photos, but why would the realtor give
Well,
the photos?
the realtor wouldn't do it. She could
But
get them,
but that's
though.
why I'm saying, yeah, that's, we're not saying that she couldn't get them. That's
the real
irrelevant.
estate person gave her those pictures.
Yeah, the realtor
Well, she-
would never have done
Said
that.
she got the file, but did she get the file from the realtor? I missed
Yes!
that part.
Yes,
Okay.
that was what, all in that.
She said, "Here's
folder
the
she gave
yeah,
her.
yeah."
Mhm.
That's
Well,
what
that
I'm
was
saying.
Like the
Above and
worst
beyond.
real estate agent. ever.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. We're like,
Well,
no.
everybody's evil. Everybody's evil in this movie. The real estate agent. I mean, the weird farmer guy. I mean, even the husband's going out and killing pigs for no reason. I don't even understand the whole reason. Oh, we need to kill the father pig. Oh, now we got to kill the rest of the pigs.
Okay, I didn't
What
understand
is
that.
going
Why
on?
did he
Oh, it
have
had
to
to do with
kill that
disease.
pig? So he had to actually kill it and put it in acid to check for. I thought he was checking for genetic things or something. I was like, can't you just do a blood test or something?
Oh, and then I was worried he was going to put the baby on the table and it was going to walk over to the acid. I don't know.
Just
It's-
weird.
Well, I was afraid that damn bolt gun was going to come into play at the house.
Oh, I was too. I was like, oh my God.
geez. I don't want her
But,
running
yeah.
around the house with that gun. And it was like, oh my God, that would be
Well,
terrible. And I was
I think-
expecting that.
Well, this film it was a movie full of all these cool toys, great actors. I mean, music that normally half your budget might cost
Yeah.
to use. You know, good cinematography. I mean, there's like all these great elements, but it seems like it can't pick a lane. They can't pick it for what they're going to do. And then the end, it's almost like an amalgam of all these different things. And then like, oh, everything's happy. Cause yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. It just doesn't, it never commits to anything fully. I felt like I had mental health problems by the end of this film
Oh my God.
because I wasn't sure what happened or what was supposed to have happened or what the whole meaning behind it was.
Yeah, because I can't get it to come out in my mind. Like you said something about Doc, that it was, she had that incident in the attic, made that connection between her and her baby.
I don't know how it happened, but yeah, that's what it implies.
So does that either the rest of what was going on was, you know, a supernatural presence in the house, which now has immediately gone away, or she's delusional and hallucinating, and I don't see how that just like automatically goes away. Just with that
And
realization.
the baby,
So
the baby was creepy too.
Was a creepy baby?
Oh, that was a cute little
It kept
baby.
smiling at her when
Yeah.
she'd hurt herself.
It's like, hi. Well, I
Yeah,
think they were
gotcha.
just trying. I think that was supposed to be her imagination. This movie confused me, if I'm being honest with you. I'm
Obviously,
not
we're
sure
confused.
what it. I mean, I kind of get where it was going, but I'm not sure if that's where it was going. It felt like too many, like just disjointed,
Well, I'm pretty
disjointed, and I don't know. Ugh.
I'm pretty sure I saw Emma Roberts as one of the producers on the film. It's not in IMDb. But in IMDb, there's a long list of producers, some of them recognizable names like Zachary Quinto.
Oh, I love. Yeah, wow.
So I don't know if this was I don't know if I want to call it a vanity project, but you know, something that she got involved in, or it's just a woman taking power over what she's in, which is great.
I guess so, but I don't know.
I'm just confused.
And then you have the whole weird sort of backplot of incest stuff that it could be triggering for some people and very kind of creepy because every time you hear the girl screaming,
Yeah.
you know what's happening ghost wise. I mean, but I will say I did find parts of it creepy. There's a part where she's in the bathtub. I jumped. It made me jump to where I said shit. What had happened? So there were parts of it that had that they tried to create the scares a little bit, but I think the unevenness and the craziness of what they're trying to tell didn't just I felt more confused than
Yeah.
scared.
Well, I personally saw it as a ghost story, not something in her mind. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Jeff, sir, you are up first. Oh, it's still look at it, still cooking.
It's still percolating. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay, this is going to be one of my caveat scores. I'm going to give it 3.5 based on everything except the last 2 minutes.
I love it.
Because up to then, I was cool with just a lot of weird crap was going on, and I was waiting to see how this was going to affect everything and how it was going to fit together. And is this a psychological horror story, or is this a supernatural ghost story, or what's going to happen? How is this all going to affect everything together? And then it just went, never mind.
Yeah.
In my mind. And so I thought it was well made. I liked the acting. I was cool with the way it was told. I was following it. I was into it, trying to figure out what was going on. And so 3.5 for the first, what is it? How long is it?
It doesn't even tell us.
Say it's
like an hour. I think 40, it was an hour 41 minutes.
Yeah. So for the first hour and 38 minutes, 3.5, and for the last 2 minutes, 1, because I'm just like, it took any concept of story away from it, from my point of view. I didn't get it.
No, I get you more than I get this movie. That's definitely true.
No, that's scary.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene? Did you say favorite scene? Did you have a favorite scene? What?
Oh, favorite scene.
What?
You know what?
What?
I'm gonna take the scenes with the pig farmer.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
Those were creepy as all get out. I mean,
Oh,
all that guy had to do was stand there, and you went.
Ugh. I know. He did a good job.
Spilled out of the side of his
for a
mouth.
small little scene. Yeah. All right, Christopher G. Mohr, your final thoughts, your score, and your favorite scene. Go.
Yeah. Any semblance of sanity was abandoned with this film. There's just it has so many components that should work, but sometimes putting all those components together doesn't create anything that's on the level as the individual parts. And I think it tries to. I kind of wish it just been more simplistic in its approach instead of just feeling and going in different directions. I think there's some good acting performances in it, but in some ways I feel like that makes it even more disappointing that it's not better than what it should be. And the way the story plays out doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the ending, it's like it tries to have its cake and eat it, and muffins and carrots and everything too. And then tries to put a little pretty bow on the end. Everything you saw, it doesn't matter. And it does matter. I think I felt a little bit unhinged myself by the end of it, because I'm so confused by everything. And I can't blame it on having a little screaming kid. So yeah, this film annoyed me more than it entertained me. So I'll give it a 2.5.
Okay.
I think it's shot competently. I think it's got some good performances, but I think it kind of wastes the talent on a storyline that doesn't really decide what it wants to be. But as for favorite scene, by the way, was that Pampers underneath the couch?
Yeah, it was like diapers.
It was dirty diapers, right? Yeah.
I couldn't even tell what it was, but
Yeah.
anyway. And then she's like, "Let's just move the couch back over."
I
But
know.
Yeah.
guess it's not real. Oh, I may reduce my My rating, now that I think about it, it's making me mad again. Let me get off of this ride before I throw up.
Get off of this
I
ride.
will
want
say
off.
favorite scene will be I'll say the jump scare
The bass scene?
when
Okay.
the
I love the bath scene.
incestuous father ghost shows up.
Oh,
and
no,
and
that's not it.
Huh?
Under the bed scene, right?
no, when she's in the tub
In the tub.
with the
Oh.
baby,
Yeah.
and then he comes in and like out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's the moment that scared the shit out of me.
There was another reason. It's like, why is he leaving the baby with her in the tub?
Well, I know. Again, another situation, and then when she just comes to in the middle, like, I'm like, oh, that baby's like floating in the water now. I can't. They better. This is like this. If you drink every time the baby is endangered, you'll be endangered. So
Yeah.
don't do a drinking game with that. So yeah, that's. That I think that one scare really kind of scared me out of my confusion, and then I went back to being confused again.
Yeah, I love it. Crystal, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, favorite scene.
Okay. So I wish I could recommend this, but I can't recommend this. I mean, I think some people will probably like maybe the atmosphere. I love Emma and Michael. I hate it. Yeah, there's no. So I'm not gonna recommend it, but I'm gonna give it a 2.5 as well, because the story. It's the story really, and obviously Christopher took my favorite scene because it's basically the only good scene in the movie. But I'll say that I did like the end. I like the end. I like when it showed like the baby, and then it showed the boy older, and then they go outside, and I love Michael's smile at watching him, and like his like peace with that, and then the whole pregnancy thing. Yeah, that's it.
And what it implied, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Which it's kind of the frustrating part also.
It
Oh
is.
man. Yeah, so I mean, I was looking forward to this, the pedigree on it, like I said earlier, with the cast and everything. I love a good ghost story, so it looked like it was going to be one. It's a bit of a hodgepodge, a little bit of a mess, with 3 great actors at the core of it that don't work well together. I find that the strangest thing is that the chemistry between them just isn't really that strong. I mean, there's more chemistry in the few scenes between Michael and Emma than there is with her and John Gallagher at all. And I like John Gallagher Jr. Right? I at least in certain films, not necessarily this one, but it might be the character. I don't know. I don't know. I prefer to see this as a straight up ghost story because that just makes more sense to me. And she ends up finding her love for the child at the end. Yay. I'm just going to go with that and run with it because that's the easiest answer for me. But I feel like there's much deeper crap going on. I 2.5 is what I'm going to give it to. I think that's fair. I'm really curious now discovering that, the director's not listed in the IMDb and there's all kinds of weird things going on. I'm just wondering if there's a history behind this film because it definitely looks like it's intended to be a theatrical film.
Yes.
With the cast and everything, but it's not a theatrical. It doesn't gel.
Maybe some of the financing fell through or something.
Or some inner conflict. We're making crap up, to really be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it's we're speculating. But something that you just watch this and you feel like something happened, right? Something happened that this movie didn't come together at the end. For my favorite scene, however, is going to be, I think we almost went to it when we ended up in the tub scene again. But when the father is at the end of the hallway and all you see is like the shoulders and the chest, you see the shadows, and then he comes down the hallway and it's like thump, 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 thump. Oh my God, that creeped me out. And it does it a couple times. And I thought that was really effective. It really felt because it starts out slow and the thumps get raising. So it was all really well choreographed to make that a tense, interesting scene. And of course, it ends with the bed thing, right, which was a little confusing. But I like the feel of that. That was really creepy. It needed more of that. It needed sooner, because the jump scare with her just seeing her reflection, and the jump scare is actually music. We've talked about this before, where and you're supposed to be scared is annoying, and that's what they did there.
Yeah.
But they only did it, as far as I can recall, they only did it that once, and everything else was more structured. But it certainly took its time, pacing wise, and I think that hurt too. So I'll shut up. That's where I'm at.
Well, before we leave,
yes,
I just looked this up, and maybe you guys already knew this, but I didn't know this. But there is actually a mental illness called postpartum psychosis
Ah.
that's
Okay.
characterized by delusions, hallucinations, agitation, depression, anxiety or confusion, severe insomnia, paranoia, suspicious feelings. So
she definitely has all that, and she lies to the psychiatrist. When he literally asks her,
right, feeling disconnected from your baby is another part of it. So, and is often misdiagnosed as schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or postpartum depression. So, I think maybe that's where they were going, but I didn't.
They certainly didn't do a good job of.
But I still don't get the end.
I can't help you. Crystal might have taken you offline and help you out, but yeah, I'm confused by the ending as well.
Yeah.
All right. Christopher, Jeff, thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, interesting.
Always fun to talk.
All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.